like gain power. No, the Christian nationalists, I'm going to show you videos of and not weirdo internet, like young male incels. Like the Trump administration are the Groypers. The Groypers are the Trump administration. This is who they all are. And I can easily prove it to you. So anyways, this is a man named Dale Partridge, who you will now hear his feelings on and he's a very popular podcaster and whatever he is. I don't know if I think he considers himself like a pastor. Yeah, Dale Partridge is a pastor. I have a hard time even saying that. But here's Dale Partridge and his feelings on and I want to point out before I say this, the architects of Project 2025 are all friends with these men I'm about to show you. Russ Vought, the head of the Office of Management and Budget, the one enacting, he was the architect of Project 2025, who's enacting all this BS while Trump golfs. These are his friends. And I mean, there are accounts, like researchers, historians, and journalists that have tied all these people together. I've done hours-long presentations on this. So just know, these are the close friends of the people in the most powerful positions of the Trump administration who wrote Project 2025.
Is it good that women can vote in America? I don't think so, and here's why. Nearly every legalized moral atrocity of the last 100 years was made.
I want to say something because I do have a degree and I was a historical researcher. I checked all over Google Scholar, where actual studies that are mathematically accurate are available. I cannot you're about to hear a bunch of statistics from this guy. None of those, as near as I can tell, are related to any peer-reviewed studies. So he's about to spew numbers that I think he made up in his head, just to be clear.
Women can vote in America? I don't think so, and here's why. Nearly every legalized moral atrocity of the last 100 years was made possible by the female vote. Abortion and homosexuality would likely still be illegal if not for the female vote. Mass immigration and the welfare state rode on the backs of the female vote. Nearly every modern Democrat, including Obama and Biden, were elected because of the female vote. Even last night, the new Muslim New York City mayor, Mondami, won specifically because of the female vote. The 19th Amendment has been a moral and political tragedy for America, but why? Women were not made to lead, but to follow and to feel. This is God's design, and it's good within the family and the household. But
I don't have the time to explain to Matt, you reek of insecurity. I just want men to know anger, what you guys are always exhibiting, all of the mass majority of all unalivings, of all schmurder, of all crime is committed by men. Anger is the most base emotion. When you are an infant, one of the first emotions you learn, that's why babies are screaming. They're like, I need something, I'm angry, someone help me. So I just want you to know, the least intelligent, most base emotion is anger, and that's what you always feel. Nobody on this earth, as a group, are more emotional than men. So you guys can tell yourself whatever you want about feeling empathy, being able to have, differentiate. Like if you've ever been in therapy and there's an emotions wheel, it's like, okay, anger's the base emotion, but are you, what comes after that? Is it fear? Is it, and being able to identify that makes you emotionally intelligent. This is just an insecure man spewing lies. It scares me to play this stuff because it's so disgusting.
Emotions cannot be what is used to rule and govern a nation. Statistically and generally speaking, women vote for whatever feels most kind or peaceful or safe to their emotions. Women
again, every word of this is mathematically untrue. Statistically speaking, sir, you have no idea what statistics are. That is not how anyone votes, and you are an idiot.
crave security and comfort, and whoever promises those things wins their loyalty. The problem is evil men know this and they exploit it. For example, women are twice as likely to men to be seduced into an affair. They are 26%.
I just want to be clear, and like I said, I did a lot of time. I'm like, whatever he is quoting, I'm going to find it because this is what I used to do in college to make money. is, research. I think the only thing I could find is Wikipedia. It says men commit twice the affairs than women do. So I think what he's saying is like, because men are committing double, he just read Wikipedia and he's like, okay, if men are doing twice as many affairs as women, then they're seducing women into them. So do you understand what I'm saying? That is the only numbers. And I mean, I am very good at finding any legitimate peer-reviewed studies that exist. The only thing I could think that he could be thinking is that it just in Wikipedia, it just says men have twice as many affairs as women. So then he's like, okay, if men are having twice as many affairs and an affair involves a woman, then that means that women must be seduced into those affairs, so they are idiots. That is the nearest thing I could think of that this insecure weirdo could be talking about, which again, he spends this whole time saying women are emotional. These are all his feelings. Like, that's what I'm saying. What I do on the People's Receipts is it's data driven and fact based. These aren't my feelings. These are just the reality. Not like, hey, I saw on Fox News that a brown person was up to something and then I got angry and now I don't like brown people. This is actual aggregate data that tells a story. That's what I do. This is quite literally this man's hysterical feelings that he's just spewing at us. None of this is real. This is this man's feelings and perception, which I find fascinating. And he spends the time saying women cannot determine reality. Like, we need to get you in a real math class, sir.
Evil men know this, and they exploit it. For example, women are twice as likely to men to be seduced into an affair. They are 26% more likely to be financially scammed online. They are 3 times more likely to fall prey to psychics and tarot card readings and astrology and mediums. The same emotional vulnerability that shows up there also shows up in politics. Many call it
all the lies you just heard. Nearest I could tell, this is probably if it comes from anything, which I can't find anything, including polls, definitely not peer-reviewed study that match anything this guy's talking about. But the closest thing I could determine is like, this is some sort of like right-wing online poll, like in the right-wing, like manosphere, where it's like, who do you think gets scammed more? I can't, that's the only thing I can think, because this is not normal. And he doesn't cite any sources.
Suicidal empathy. So I believe that we should return to the household vote, where women share their thoughts with their fathers or their husbands, and the men in their life make the final decision. Men are not perfect, but they are far more fit to rule with logic, and they are less likely to be deceived in political matters. So I don't believe that we
are less likely to be deceived in political matters. Are you okay, sir? You are literally being grifted right now. Why are men so dumb? Like, it is physically... Yeehaw, thank you for the hat. It is so painful to listen to. It's like, hey, I get it. You have a podcast because you've been in your mommy's basement and you're like, I'm feeling all these feelings that are not based in any, sets of data, but I just need to yell my feelings at people. Just say you have a small D and no one wants you. Just say it. We get it. We get it, because I do know men who are not insecure. They do exist. There are men out there who like value women and are like, women are amazing and I respect them. And yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I have no idea how you get to this point, but I'm telling you, this is, and by the way, Charlie Kirk, I'm from Arizona, Turning Point USA. They're like, quote unquote, campus is in Arizona. And he ran commercials talking about this, that, prior to the election, that if women vote, if you're good, godly Christian women and you don't listen to who your husband tells you to vote for, you're the problem, because the man is the head of the house. Like, men can't even, let me just say this, like, my dad could not pack his own suitcase, get himself to a doctor's appointment. Men are weaponized incompetence is quite literally men's personality. Not men in this live. I'm not talking about you, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying on the right, these people who are like, the Lord made me the head of the household and women need to shut up and I support Donald Trump. You are being grifted. Oh, you're less likely to be grifted? Why are you being grifted right now and can't figure that out? Yeah, like, these people would starve to death without a woman, and they're telling us, like, I can't.
Should repeal the 19th Amendment because I don't love women. I believe we should repeal the 19th Amendment because I love America and I love American women enough to protect them and our nation from their political exploitation.
Said literally the dumbest man I've ever. Not one peer-reviewed study that could back up a thing this man said. Just made it all up, yelling feelings. But we need to be removed from political exploitation. If only I could be this dumb. Can you imagine being this dumb? Like, what is that saying? Ignorance is bliss. I actually think I sometimes am jealous of dumb men. You know what I mean? And I get it. Like, this is why Christian nationalist men cling to the Bible, because they use it to believe, like, hey, even though I'm a dumb, insecure idiot who's accomplished nothing, like, Jesus says I'm the head of the household. Yeah, I'd cling to the Bible too if I had literally no accolades, no accomplishments, had no idea to analyze how to analyze data, and like my last ditch effort that I was special was literally clinging to the Holy Bible and being like, a bunch of weirdos over the last 3,000, 4,000 years like said some things, and actually the Bible did not start with the book of Genesis. It started with a different book, which over time was removed by the Catholic Church. All of the books of the Bible that talked about women and their contributions to Christianity were later removed so insecure men could consolidate power and transfer women like they transfer property, as chattel slavery. And I know that because my brain works. But I, too, if I was this dumb, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be like, Jesus said I'm specialer than women. Okay, sir. And this is just someone posted this underneath that video. And I think this is because that's like pastor, quote unquote, Christian nationalist Dale Partridge. And then here's like the Groyper version of that. And like, it's so sad. You know what I mean? It's so, they don't, bless them. They're trying. It's like they heard that man talking and then they're like, we'll start our own podcast and we'll say women aren't shit.
Hold on. It's me. You're about to see some really stupid shit and I didn't want you to immediately scroll past. So just bear with this for a moment. I have a reason for showing it, and then I will be right back.
If only women voted, our country would always be Democrat. If only men voted, our country would always be Republican.
Yeah, let that sink in.
You can look that up for yourself.
It's true. I mean, we're not...
Look it up where? Can we just give up? Are these kids okay? Do you see what I'm saying? They heard that in the manosphere and they're like, now we'll do our own podcast and we'll deliver the news. Let that sink in. Let it sink in how you guys can barely form a sentence and have cited no sources. Should we let that sink in? I need so many things to let sink in. If anyone is interested in watching, this is called the Con Clay Show. It sounds like something we should all join together. No, don't give them engagement. But I do think it's hilarious that they're like, let that sink in. I heard from another idiot who's older than me a statement I will now repeat. Sound like an idiot and cite no sources because they don't exist. But that is, and let me just be clear about something. This has come from places like the Heritage Foundation, like think tanks. When I started talking about, and providing all of the many studies, actual peer-reviewed studies that exist about voter ID laws and how they are inherently absolutely racist and misogynist. And people were like, why wouldn't the Republican Party want women to vote? And if you remember Dr. Danny, who's, an actual professional who's paid thousands of dollars to tour and speak on this, because it doesn't matter, right? If they limit all women from voting, even if that includes Republican women, it still makes them more likely for Republicans to win the election. Like, that's just the mathematical truth. They will disenfranchise even Republican women in order to increase their chances of winning.
Coming against women, but we're just stating a fact.
They're not coming against women. They're just stating the fact that oh, these little incels. What are we going to do?
We're not coming against women, but we're just stating a fact that if only women voted...
We're not, he says. It's not like women are giving us the time of day anyway. Why would we be... Yeah. I love that these two kissing cousins are out here just saying the quiet part out loud. Just straight up being like, the problem seems to be that women vote for their own interests. Alas, but these two underachievers did manage to stumble onto something, as is evident from the special election results from just the other night. Young women are the story. 81% of them voted for Mondani in New York, 80% voted for Cheryl in New Jersey, and 78% for Spanberger in Virginia. Once again, women. So to all of you who were a part of that, thank you. You did good. You did real good.
Here, let me just help what's this? Let's go back to a screenshot of insecure and very quickly balding Pastor Dale Partridge. Could it be not that women are being manipulated, but that women are intelligent enough to do research and vote in their best interest? Could that be it? That you are sitting here telling us that women shouldn't have rights? We should literally be chattel slaves with no rights and no representation in Congress, and we should defer to the male of our household, which could be your father. Like, that's why people are like, you're not, like Ken Ray, you're not married. Yeah, why would I? I'm not interested in being in a contractual marriage that was historically just the transferring of property from my father to another weird man who I'm definitely going to be smarter than. If I can meet a man who's not smarter than me, then maybe I would consider it. But yeah, I don't want to be the property of an idiot, of an insecure idiot at that, who expects me to have sex with him. That sounds like a literal nightmare. I don't think I will, in fact, ever be doing that. I'd have to be crazy to do that. But I mean, that, like, and it's that women are being manipulated, or we're just not idiots. Which one is it? Why would I'm sure we're all just excited to be owned by a Christian nationalist insecure idiot who can't analyze data or find actual peer-reviewed studies and just says his feelings are facts. That's my dream. Oh, and okay, so I've talked about this. Russ Vogt, who's the architect of Project 2025, and he's now the director of the Office of Management and Budget, which, MAGA, you don't know how the government works. You just listen to what Trump says. So that's arguably the most important position in the executive branch. And his job is to enact all of Project 2025. Well, Joel Webbin, who, if you've watched the People's Receipts, I've talked to you, this is he's very close to Russ Vogt. They have written papers together and done research together. They are fellow, like, Christian nationalist buddies. So I'm going to show you several clips of Joe Webbin. My point is this. Trump's administration are these people, and the gripers are just the young idiots, right, of the Christian nationalists, right? They're just dumb, and they think Nick Fuentes is their god because it sounds like he's making sense. I never hear Nick Fuentes analyze data, but yeah, like the Groypers are just the younger Christian nationalists. And that's why it's so important to not let young males, young women, Gen Z women, Gen Alpha women are by and large progressives. And that's why they're so intent on repealing the 19th Amendment. So yeah, like that's why it's important to talk to your sons especially and communicate with them about this, because it's scary. So again, I'm going to show many clips of Joel Webbin throughout this presentation, but here's just one.
Critiquing gatekeeping as a whole. If the right is ascendant and we win, you absolutely should gatekeep from the left.
Correct. Yeah.
But in this case,
there should not be transgender people on the White House lawn. So it's like, well, wouldn't you gatekeep them if you guys were ever in power? Of course.
Right. That's why you have to win.
Well, how come you're allowed?
So you can gatekeep.
How come you're allowed to do that? Because we're right. What is this equal standard? I don't get it. It's like we should have equal standards. Christians should tolerate wickedness equally to wicked people tolerating righteousness. Wait, what? No, it doesn't need to be equal at all. Christians don't have to tolerate degeneracy, and degenerates absolutely must tolerate righteousness, or they need to go to jail or flee the country.
Right.
It's a wonderful principle, perfectly biblical. No, there's nothing equal about it.
This is one of Russ Vogt's, not this guy, the one that I was pointing to. That's Joel Webbin. This is one of Russ Vogt's best friends. I'm just trying to show you, if you believe the Groypers are far right, no, they're just the young kids that the Christian nationalist movement are recruiting. That's it. That's all they are. They're the young kids in this pipeline of Christian nationalists. These people are dead serious, too, and it's been going on for years. Oh, here's another. Oh, God, I cannot see. I'm having to play these, but it's all for a greater cause. Okay, let's all tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Share the live. Here's, and by the way, the Christian nationalists, I just want to be very clear, because the reason people were leaving the Heritage Foundation is because there is a section of the Heritage Foundation that is about combating anti-Semitism. There are a lot of Jewish lawyers, high-powered Jewish corporate lawyers who worked there, who are like, oh, okay, so if you're embracing Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes publicly, Kevin Roberts, who's the president of the Heritage Foundation, then you are them, and so is J.D. Vance. This is who they are. They are anti-Semitic. Absolutely. And I'm shocked that these people hung out at the Heritage Foundation so long and could not figure that out for themselves. That this is who they all are. The only people that have value to these far-right fringe Christian nationalists, and I don't mean far-right fringe like don't worry about it, they're in the White House, are straight, white, Protestant, Anglo-Saxon male. That's it. Everybody else, either, you heard Joel Webbin say it, needs to get out or be in a camp or a jail. That's it. Or you're a woman who's property of a white, straight, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant male. Those are your choices. That's it.
Let the mass denaturalizations begin, because that's what needs to happen. You can stop so much of this garbage just by doing that. And you know what? This also brings me to this. This is another reason why we've got to clean up our elections. We've got to make sure that these people are gone. We have to basically become the Gestapo, but for a good cause, which is what? Getting rid of people that are not supposed to be in this country by force. By force, no matter what means necessary. They want to call us fascists all the time. Hell, why don't we live up to their expectations, okay? But do it in a good way.
You're doing it now, Josh. You're doing it right. You don't need... There's no good way. You're doing it, little fella. Don't think too hard. I can see you're thinking too hard. Your brain looks like it's hurting.
Get rid of these people in our country. And if we don't do it, well, we might be having a different conversation come November of 2026.
Couldn't do math for a second. He forgot how to use a calendar for just, he's like, 2026. You almost had it there. Keep thinking, but don't think too hard because your brain is not firing on all cylinders. And that's the point. That's what I want people to understand. In the version, and when you're like, what the hell is the Supreme Court up to? And it's very ironic that, people like Clarence Thomas would agree with it as a black man who, God, what is that language? I'll get into that another time. I'm not going to get into it now. Like, Clarence Thomas is not just a black man. He was like, it's like half Creole, like half indigenous. What do they speak? It starts with a G, like Gucci, or what is that language that like in the South and like in certain places, there's like this language that was spoken like, and it was like a mixture of Creole and Gullah. Thank you. It's Gullah. Thank you for saying that. Do you know that? Can you imagine Clarence Thomas carrying water for these people now? And this is a man, like, Americans need to speak English. Clarence Thomas could not speak anything but Gullah for like the majority of his life. And he's sitting here voting with these Christian nationalists like Alito and being like, why don't brown and black people speak English? Like you didn't, weirdo? Like, are you okay, sir? Can you? It's fascinating to watch Clarence Thomas exist. Oh yeah, look it up. And by the way, I love to learn, and that's why I know these things, because I'm constantly doing research. But the reason I know that, and I'm sure you could probably Google it and find it, Joy Reid is why I know that. Joy Reid, the black Harvard educated, brilliant woman who was fired from MSNBC for being too black and the same time Mehdi Hassan was, like, she's the reason I know that. She did a long piece on like who Clarence. That's why I know, because a brilliant black woman taught me. Anyways, but I digress. Let's continue listening to insecure white men clinging to the Bible to pretend that they are important. Oh wait, sorry, that's not part of. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I have to leave this. The rest of this presentation I made yesterday, and it's in another. I just have to switch presentations. Okay. Almost. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to show you, because this is going to get boring. That was the most comfortable parts of this. I think, and if you want to do more research on this, like I said this yesterday when I was kind of teeing this up that I was going to do this. I cannot play the majority of these things. Like, there's just no way possible. So if you want to like listen to Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, do that. Like, but there's so few parts of it that I'm able to play without being in a lot of trouble. So anyways, let's get into like why I started doing this, other than I am keeping an eye. That's why I'm always on X, is to keep an eye on insecure white men using the Bible to try to claw back their rights. Chrissy, I love you. Thank you for the $5. Men have run things for 4,000 years and they've screwed the pooch. Maybe we should put women in charge for the next 4K. But Chrissy, that would hurt men's egos. They would feel less important. I don't know how men can feel any less valuable than they already are. Like, I don't understand how that could be possible. I'm not talking about men who can read and do math. I'm talking about the 29% of people, 29 to 32 or 33, on that fringe that have not left Donald Trump, who are very much being robbed by him. Like, there is no hope for these people, but it's fascinating to watch. So I want to say this. This is just, I'm like terrified to play these because I'm like, did I double check? So this is from the Tucker Carlson interview, which, first, let me say this. I always plug this because this is how there's many accounts, but one of the best ways to keep an eye on the Christian nationalists is follow Right Wing Watch. They're on YouTube, they're on X. I don't know if they can post some of the stuff they post on Blue Sky, but this is, if you're interested in understanding this far right fringe and the power vacuum created by Charlie Kirk's absence, this is a great account, because they're trying, and they write articles, they do all sorts of things to help educate people and keep people informed. So if you're like, how can I figure out what's going on? This is where I would suggest starting. And then from there, Joanna, I love you. I love you, Joanna. I'm so glad to see you. Love you, girl. Okay, so this, if you're like, I want to know what's going on, just start with this, and then they will give you more research, and they will lead you to darker and darker corners of the internet. But at least this account is like created by progressives. So again, this is just a clip. Yeah, just, oh God, I get sick even.
It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday. I'm a fan. You're a fan of Stalin's. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. The other thing I'm really worried about is what's happening at these ICE detention centers. And I see all the ingredients of, like.
And you would think, oh, Nick Fuentes is worried about the horrors at the ICE detention centers like I am. No, not because he has empathy, because he wants the final solution. Like, he's like, we need to just unalive everyone. Yeah, I'm sorry if the audio is messed up, because I can hear it, and I'm listening to the live in my ears. I'm trying to think of why. I'm listening to the live in my ears right now. So let me try to turn on the audio mixer, turn it down, but it could just be the audio of this clip, and there's nothing I can do about it. So sorry, but wait. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. So I'm sorry. Can you hear? Yeah, it's probably just the clip, but it's not, this, people post these clips, and I thought, well, anyways, I'm sorry, but we just have to deal with it for 59 seconds.
It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday. I'm a fan. You're a fan of Stalin's. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. The other thing I'm really worried about is what's happening at these ICE detention centers. And I see all the ingredients of like a low-boil civil conflict, full-blown civil war. If you're the president, what do you do about that? I think, maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side. Like, it has to be crushed. But if you do anything less than that, if you do in the middle, all you're doing is antagonizing and feeding the other side. If I were Trump, I would say screw 200 National Guard, like arrest the mayor of Chicago, like arrest the governor, shut it down. Bring in the troops and say the federal government is supreme. The immigration law is the law of the land. If you're not on board with that, you're going to jail. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date.
Listen, trigger warning a million times, but like, we all need to bear witness to this and understand. My point is, my premise of this entire argument is Nick Fuentes leads the 15 to 25-year-old incels on the far right fringe. But I'm saying this because we need to talk, especially to our sons. It seems like girls are growing up over, and that's the thing. I love how they're like, these young women are extremely progressive. It's not extremely progressive to just say like, hey, it seems like only one side views me as a human being who's autonomous and whose brain works and should have unalienable rights. Like, we have no choice. On the right, we are chattel. We are literally chattel to be passed through marriage contracts from one man to another, from our fathers to our new oppressor. Or we could just be on the left where, oh, look, we're people. And my problem, and I'll say this again, like, if there were just unbelievably intelligent people, like, effectively managing society on the right, maybe I'd be like, yeah, like, they're doing a great job. Like, all we have on the right, if you can analyze data over time, is statistical failure. Statistical failure for the middle and lower classes in America. Like, it doesn't even benefit the people who believe in it, right? And that's what scares me. Like, understand. And I talked about the YouTube, like, alt-right gamer to MAGA pipeline. Like, that's why you have to have conversations with young boys. And I mean young, like 10. Just be like, you got to start having these conversations, communicating, and like embracing them with love, because this is where they will end up otherwise. Okay, so, oh my God, now I need to think like of how I want to do this. Oh, wait, I need to skip around a little bit because now I'm remembering I actually formatted this better on my second try. I know I have all of this. Yashar Ali is like this journalist who I shouldn't even try to take credit. He does amazing things. And he posted all of this in order. So I'm going to look for his... He finally made sense of it for me. Okay. Last line. Sorry. Okay. No, not this one. Yeah, here we go. I'll show you guys this to explain it. So this controversy that developed where most people who, Jewish people working for the Heritage Foundation, a lot of them started quitting. So Yashar Ali is an amazing journalist, and he actually made a timeline. So Kevin Roberts, the head of the Heritage Foundation and Heritage Action, has now made his fourth public statement on Tucker Carlson Nick Fuentes situation. This is over the course of 6 days. I've put together all of his statements, including one that was an ex post in this video. So I separated them all out. But so the first thing that happened Tucker Carlson interviews Nick Fuentes, and they just that was just a little taste of it, but it's way worse than that. And I can't play it. But anyways, and there was a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of horrible things. So people in the Heritage Foundation are like, we're all quitting unless you come out and speak out against this. On October 30th, he made a video, which I'm going to show you, basically being like, I'm with Tucker. And I want to be clear, he absolutely is. I will never forget the day he was doing a press junket and JD Vance was announced as the VP pick, and he was like, it's all going according to plan. There are undercover videos that have been recorded about the Heritage Foundation meeting with who they thought were donors, who were journalists, and being like, yeah, we're going forward with Project 2025. Like, we just Paul Dans had to resign and pretend like take the rap, but like Trump's 100% on board with it. Like, this is what we're doing. So just understand, the White House is the Heritage Foundation, is the group. These people are all the same. Like, October 31st, a post on X. So then he starts writing and attempting to clean up the mess, because he first says, oh, I support Tucker Carlson. And then people started freaking out inside the Heritage Foundation. So then he starts to be like, oh, well, I guess not everything. I guess he said some anti-Semitic thing. So, oops. Then he was at Hillsdale College, which is this like psychotic conservative Christian college. And he tried again to like clean up the mess. And then on November 5th, he posts another very awkward video statement, which he again attempts to like walk back the remarks. And then later I found these emails that were like internal emails from the Heritage Foundation of people being like, these are our demands. And it looks like this is what they demanded in order to not leave. Like, take down your video, like apologize. So yeah, that's what's going on. And I don't know how much of this we need to...
He's getting squeezed.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's not important right now. I don't know why that's in there, but we'll come back to that. Okay. Yeah, this is the first one where he is like, yeah, Tucker Carlson's a great guy and I support him. And, his interview with Nick Fuentes, like, he's not well.
More to say on this in the coming days. But today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course...
So in order to try to cover up that he is anti-Semitic, that the Heritage Foundation is anti-Semitic, that Christian nationalists are anti-Semitic, that Joel Weapon is anti-Semitic, that Matt Vogt, and I don't know if it's, just understand, unless you are a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant straight male, you either need to be in subservience to them or in jail, or like, you heard Joe Weapon say, flee the country. That's it. Including people who might look white but happen to be Jewish. It's these people are nothing. So when he starts saying this first part, he uses progressive messaging, right? This is a progressive message of, hey, I stand by this to the day I die, but this is a lie from him, right? Like, he's just like, I'm going to parrot progressive messaging to try to appear like me supporting Tucker Carlson is in any world okay.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take
He said is like, hey, if some Christians are schmazzies, that's fine. Like, I'm into it. I'm totally fine with it. This is not AI. This is the president of the Heritage Foundation backing, like, Christian nationalists, and particularly Tucker Carlson's interview full of anti-Semitism, racism, and misogyny that when he interviewed Nick Fuentes. This is not AI. This is Kevin Roberts. He
direction from
it.
Comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public.
Fuentes is his biggest. He admires Hitler and Stalin, who I don't think people understand. I could make a very solid argument that Stalin is much worse than Hitler. I don't think people fully, unless you've taken like university level history classes, I don't think people understand how bad of a person Stalin was, like, and how many millions of people he unalived. Like, look up Stalingrad or Leningrad and what happened there and what he did. So yeah, it isn't. He's basically saying, as long as you're over here voting with us, you can be as big of a monster as you want, and we should all just be okay with it.
We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us.
Explain that too. When he talks about the venomous coalition, that is the most, he literally said anti-Semitic words. He is not referring to the left or people on the left or Jewish people on the left. He's referring to people working in the Republican Party and Jewish people inside the Heritage Foundation that were like, this is not okay. And let me just help you. If you refer to Jewish people as venomous, that is absolutely, I mean, I was going to say microaggression. I don't think that's a microaggression. That is a slur. It is horrible. It is awful. And he says this calmly and is just like, la, la, la. And that, I'm just trying to let you guys know, this ideology, the ideology of Nick Fuentes, the ideology of the Groypers, the ideology of Joel Webbin, who is literally best friends with, the director of the Office of Management and Budget. They are already in the White House. They are already there. This is how they all feel. They are the anti-Semites. One of the most interesting thing I've ever seen is trying to turn to the left and accuse us of anti-Semitism. Absolutely fascinating pivot. But like I said, every accusation is a confession from the right. This is who they quite literally are. And he showed the hand way too early. And that's why people are like, what? And people just, they have I said this earlier, and if you're just joining, they have an anti-Semitism coalition inside the Heritage Foundation. And those people started resigning because they're like, oh, okay, now we can see exactly who you are. I don't really want to listen to too much of this. So this is the post he then made after, because then he got huge backlash. Again, They don't care. They always get backlash from the left. They don't care. This was inside their own company. This is what he said. Yesterday I said that I abhorred views expressed by Nick Fuentes. No, you didn't. You said some of them. And that the best way to fight anti-Semitic ideas was to challenge them head on. Fuentes replied on X by saying, I don't know what exactly you abhor about my views. Allow me to elaborate because there's plenty to condemn. He is only doing this. I'll show you the internal email where they demanded it. First, the Heritage Foundation and I denounce and stand against his vicious anti-Semitic ideology, his Holocaust denial, and his relentless conspiracy theories that echo the darkest chapters of history. We are disgusted by his musings about grape, women, child marriage, and abusing his potential wife. Fuentes made grotesque analogies to try to cast doubt on the unalivings of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust and has said, quote, I think the Holocaust is exaggerated. I don't hate Mustache Man. Fuentes called for the unaliving penalty for, quote, perfidious Jews. Fuentes called for the unaliving, and other non-Christians, stating that, quote, when we take power, they need to be given the unaliving penalty. Fuentes praised Mustache Man and in the Tucker interview said he is a, quote, Stalin admirer. Fuentes stated that his goal is, quote, total Aryan victory and and this is just my, again, reminding everyone that Nick Fuentes is Hispanic. So it is mind-boggling how he could, and the irony is, Mustache Man was also not Aryan. So it's always fascinating to me, like the psychology behind people that do this. Like, sir, are you okay? And claim that black people should be in prison for the most part. This is but a sampling of his vilely daily rhetoric. Racism and anti-Semitism are not relics of the past. Yeah, they're things that you are using as tools to consolidate power on the right, Kevin Roberts. They have blossomed on the left. Now, are you, sir? We're talking about everybody in your organization quitting because of a far-right fringe interview that you said you support. That's what you said. And now somehow, isn't it always ironic how they're like, and this is all the left's fault? Is it? Or are you a liar? They have blossomed on the left on university campuses. No, they haven't. And grown on the right through figures like Fuentes. Nick Fuentes' anti-Semitism is not complicated, ironic, or misunderstood. It is explicit, dangerous, and demands our unified opposition as conservatives. Fuentes knows exactly what he is doing. He is fomenting, and he writes Jew hatred. Like, it's Jewish hatred, and I can't... keep telling on yourself, Kevin, you weirdo. And his incitements are not only immoral and unchristian, they risk violence. They risk violence? Okay, I can't. Our task is to confront and challenge those poisonous ideas at every turn to prevent them from taking America to a very dark place. Join us, not to cancel, but to guide, challenge, and strengthen the conversation, and be confident as I am that our best ideas at heart of Western civilization will prevail. For those, especially young men who are enticed by Fuentes and his acolytes online, there is a better way. I look forward to talking more about this in the days to come. After he literally gave and I didn't play the whole thing because it gets inappropriate, where he was like, I support Tucker Carlson's interview of Nick Fuentes. Like, and then everyone inside your organization is like, I'm quitting. And he's like, oops, now let me pretend to not be exactly who I've been literally the entire time. I'm not going to play. Then he goes to Hillsdale College, which is like a terrifying, like, private university. I'm not playing this whole thing, but he basically tries again to be like, oh, just kidding. Like, I'm not exactly who I've been this entire time, which can be referenced through all of my actions, not the words I'm now, like, putting together to try to backtrack. And then, okay, so he goes to Hillsdale College, blah, blah, blah. And then then he posts this apology video. It's this on Wednesday. He posted this like Wednesday night, super late. That's why yesterday I was like, I'm going to show you guys this. So then everyone's like, not good enough, not good enough. So he posts this.
I want to speak plainly, both as president of the Heritage Foundation and also as an American who understands the urgency of this moment. Leadership requires owning the moments where we fall short, then using them to reset, refocus, and recommit. I talked about this today, as you may have seen, during our Heritage All-Staff Town Hall. I'm so grateful for my amazing colleagues. My use of the phrase venomous coalition was a terrible choice of words. It caused justified concern, especially among friends and allies who know how seriously
Think Kevin Roberts said who he was. I think he just told the truth. And I'm saying all his actions are that he's a white Anglo-Saxon Christian nationalist Protestant male who thinks that if you are brown, if you are black, if you are a woman, if you are gay, if you are disabled, if you are anything other than part of this elite group of people, that you should be in subjugation to them, quite literally under contract, or you should be in jail, or you should leave the country.
Heritage has fought and continues to fight against the rise of anti-Semitism. Everyone has the responsibility to speak up against the scourge of anti-Semitism, no matter the messenger. Heritage and I will do so, even when my friend Tucker Carlson needs challenging. My Heritage colleagues know, as do you, the work ahead is too important. Our conservative movement must be willing to wrestle with hard conversations, not avoid them. Last night's election results demonstrate this. The need of this moment is clear. We must articulate a bold, positive vision that convinces Americans that conservative policies will revitalize the American dream. The left isn't slowing down. If we want to win, truly win, we must grow stronger in every way. Here is what we are focused on moving forward. Standing for strong families, because no society survives without them.
To be clear, that's the belief in Project 2025, that the only people who should legally be allowed to procreate are straight white people, right? That's why the Heritage Foundation is actively against IVF, because they believe it allows people who are not, God does not want to have children to have children. They do not support IVF, or it's about winning. Well, I mean, it's about winning, but I mean, I promise you, these people want us all in subjugation to them. It's not, I mean, winning what? Like, their version of winning involves us, like I'm trying to say, us all being slaves or contractually in servitude to them, or in jail, or no longer here.
Advocating for the dignity of work and free enterprise, because it's how people build meaning and sustain freedom. Defending national sovereignty, because a country that doesn't protect itself isn't a country. And restoring citizenship as a sacred trust, rooted in virtue, liberty, and faith.
Racism is what we heard.
It's not just policy, it's purpose. So to each of you working the long hours, holding the line, doing the unglamorous tasks that keep this mission moving, I see you. I'm grateful. And I want you to know we're in this together. Movement.
No one's in it with you but straight, white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant males. Good luck with procreation, but yeah, you guys are above nothing. Hold on, I just gotta remember that I'm not gonna say anything that... So, okay, because I'm just scared at every clip, because these are all very terrifying. Okay, so once Kevin Roberts on October 30th comes out and defends Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes' interview, and then Nick Fuentes is like, basically like, yeah, like I'm running now and I can do whatever I want. And then basically he's like, I don't know, like he's saying that JD Vance cannot denounce them. Not that JD Vance, I don't even think that he would, right? I think JD Vance is a Christian nationalist. I think that JD Vance is smart though, right? JD Vance is too smart to necessarily publicly be like, hey, I'm with these people. So that's the issue. I don't think JD Vance is against them. But now, again, remember, there's a power vacuum. Charlie Kirk's gone, who was JD Vance's bestie. So here comes this guy.
He's getting squeezed. Because the Groypers are on the one hand saying, hey, listen, fat boy, we want America first. You want to run for president? We want to hear you say America first. And on the other side, he's got his donors, and they're saying they're horrible anti-Semites. You have to disavow them. You have to forcefully condemn them. Condemn Tucker. Condemn the Groypers. Now, if Vance condemns the Groypers, we are deploying to Iowa. Raise your right hand. I swear I'm going to move to Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and South Carolina and one primary after the next. And we will go to every town hall. We will go to every meet and greet where there's 4 or 5 people, and we will be there. And we'll do it for free.
Okay, if you're confused, he's talking about the primaries. Like, this message is for JD Vance. He's saying, you're trying to pretend you're not an anti-Semite, that you don't agree with us. Well, either you embrace us or we will ruin your chances at being president. You know, in Nick Fuentes' mind, Trump's no longer with us anymore. He's already planning for the future, and he's saying the Iowa primary, this is where the presidential elections start. And he is saying, JD Vance, either you, which, let's be honest, JD Vance does believe this stuff. Like, remember though, this is the crazy part. JD Vance is married to an Indian woman and has biracial children and is a white nationalist, terrifying weirdo. Best friend of Kevin Roberts, best friend of Tucker Carlson. This is who he is. He's just he's a Yale educated lawyer who's too smart to actually back him publicly. And Nick Fuentes wants to be legitimized. Nick Fuentes is very angry. Part of the Tucker Carlson interview is Nick Fuentes talking about how he's been banned from CPAC, how he's mad at Marjorie Taylor Greene because Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees with every single thing Nick Fuentes says. Actually, I didn't add it to this interview, but that's part of the literal interview. Tucker Carlson's like, why are you mad at Marjorie? And I remember this entire thing. Nick Fuentes is like, you agree with this is every belief this man has, Marjorie Taylor Greene holds. That's why I said when she started doing this whole, I'm more polished, I agree with Democrats, that's more scary to me. Let's never forget who Marjorie Taylor Greene actually is. And if you don't remember what I'm talking about, I'm going to try to get this right. Like, CPAC, God, it was like 2019, 2018. He was physically not allowed to attend. They had security guards trying to keep him out. He kind of broke in with all his little friends, and it was like this whole thing. Then a year and a half later, Marjorie Taylor Greene essentially was pretending to not know who he was after he basically hosted a conference of anti-Semitic, racist, misogynist bigots, and she spoke there. And he basically, if you follow Capitol Hill blogs, because the aides were saying, he has a recording of Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently saying horrible things. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene wouldn't publicly say, I know Nick Fuentes, he's my friend, and I believe all the same things he does, he was going to release this recording, I guess, that he says he has, which I fully believe it, because there are many congressional aides apparently that have heard it, of her just being absolutely vile. Yeah, this is all before he met with Trump. faithfully. So that comes like a year later. But yeah, like if you haven't, like people don't understand. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nick Fuentes have all the same ideas, period. And then a year, or maybe a year and a couple months later, is when he shows up at Mar-a-Lago with Kanye. Right? So that's why he hates or is mad at Marjorie. And he's like, now you all accept me. Now you're all with me. Now you all can publicly say, because the Overton window has moved so far right, like being horrifically anti-Semitic, being horrifically misogynistic, being horrifically racist is like in fashion now. And he's like, but back then, like my life was ruined. And all of these Republicans in Congress and government agreed with me behind the scenes, but would not claim me then. And I am still mad about it now. Like, that's why he's mad. So never sleep on all these people. That's what the lesson today is, his beliefs are the beliefs of the majority of these people. This is who they are. They feel this way. Anyways, oh yeah, and if you're looking for more